Welcome back to KPReacts, your home of internet reactions, and today we are reacting to 10 times when Tinder went wrong. Now, Tinder's blown up over the years, and there's obviously loads of pros of it, but as always, guys, stay safe on the internet. So hopefully we can learn some good internet safety guidelines, if anything, from this video. So let's jump into it.
Hey guys, it's Chris. From a crazed
It's our favorite guy, Chris, from World List.
Catfish you can possibly
We love
imagine.
Chris.
Here are 10 of the most insane Tinder horror stories.
Man, stay safe, kids. It's World List. Yeah, man, stay safe. This Tinder, Bumble, Hinge
Number
business
10,
is a bit
the
mad.
Lady Stalker. A woman from New Zealand named Karen Lang couldn't let her Tinder date go. She
It has to be a Karen, doesn't it? It just had to be a Karen, the first one.
years old and was just sentenced to jail
It
for
had
2
to be.
years and 3 months on a pair of charges of criminal harassment and threatening to kill. According to the New Zealand Herald, Karen had a long, dark history before being sentenced of stalking her victim after a Tinder date that went horribly wrong.
Jeez.
The date ended with Karen breaking down her date's door and assaulting him quite violently. It's not clear exactly what
It's not always the men. I know stereotypically, and you know, I'm sure many of these will be the men, but telling you, some of them women crazy too, man. Some of them are crazy.
A psychologist's report read to the court during the trial revealed that Karen had been desperate to find someone to love her. When her Tinder date refused the loving, Karen went totally psycho. She went so far as to target her date's mother on Facebook, sending at least 13 threatening messages. One of the messages read, "My feelings are to murder you and I will enjoy it because I don't like you. I'm gonna get you."
Bruh, nah, this Karen is next level Karen. She is crazy. No other word for it.
Yikes, Karen. Now Karen is stuck behind bars for stalking and threats of violence.
You're damn
She's currently
right.
being given counseling, and hopefully when she
You
gets
can't
out,
do
she
that.
doesn't get back
You
on
just
Tinder.
can't do that, lady.
Number 9. First time pregnant. Being alone in a new city is rough. How do you meet people?
First time,
Is Tinder
what the
really
hell?
the best option? Not for this next girl. The first time Caitlin had a Tinder date, she got pregnant. It was the very first person she'd ever
Jeez.
matched with. Apparently they matched
Come on, guys. Where's the protection at, people? Come
a
on.
little too well. They began to casually date. They'd obviously not been very safe, and a couple of months later, Caitlin realized she had a baby inside of her. One thing you're not supposed to do on a random Tinder date is get pregnant. And to make this story
You
even
don't say.
crazier, when Caitlin realized that she was pregnant, she sat the would-be father down and dumped him. Not only that, but she sat
Why did she do that?
him down, told him she didn't want to raise the baby with him, and that she was going to abort it. Well, Caitlin never went through with.
Wait, what? Wait, she didn't want the kid, but she didn't even she didn't want to raise it with him. So why did she say that if she was going to abort the baby anyway?
Canceling the pregnancy. Instead, she decided to carry her baby all the way through and then put it up for adoption. For the next 7 months,
Okay.
Caitlin struggled living alone in a city where she had no friends and was pregnant all by herself. After the birth, Caitlin's son was handed over to his adoptive family and thus ended what is the longest and most emotional first Tinder
Jesus
experience
Christ.
in history. Number 8. An
Oh my
organized
days.
robbery. In what was one of the most brutal catfish dates ever, 2 men looking for love on Tinder ended up being terrorized by a pair of grown men and a teenage girl.
What?
Josinga McDonald and Jeremiah Manny were denied bail by a Cook County judge after being charged with vehicular hijacking, aggravated kidnapping,
They try and
and
jack someone.
aggravated robbery. These
On
two
a
guys
Tinder date.
posed as a woman online and lured 2 unwitting victims to a predetermined place to be robbed.
Oh my god, they catfish someone into... Wait, what's that called? I think it's called honey trap or something. Oh my days. Why do
The
people
first
do
victim
this
was lured
crazy
into a
stuff?
home and downstairs into the basement by a woman he thought was his date.
Oh,
But she
man.
was just the bait. When the victim got into the
Yeah,
basement,
this is
there were
definitely, I think, a
4
honey
men in
trap.
ski masks waiting for him.
Jeez.
One of them was armed with a handgun. After
Jeez, man, that must be so horrible. You're psyched up for a date or something, and then, jeez, that must be horrible.
beating him senseless, they emptied his pockets and stole his car. When the second victim from Tinder arrived to meet his date, he was instead greeted by 2 men who punched him in the face, beat him senseless, threatened to kill him
Flippin'
if
hell.
he screamed or ran away, and then drove him to an ATM to withdraw money, and then to a gas station to buy cigars and alcohol with the victim's credit card.
Oh my
Then they
god.
kicked the man out of his own car and stole his wallet. Of course, the victim this time was able to
Nah, those guys are low-life scum, man. Those guys are the lowest of the low
trace
scum.
his cell phone and call
Absolute
the
lowest.
police. The police followed his cell phone straight to the robbers, who were still sitting in his car with all the stolen goods. Are any of these stories making you think about...
These guys are the most B-Tech scammers. The most B-Tech scammers. How do they do this stuff?
Yet? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like this
video
and
God.
subscribe if you
Some
haven't
of these
already.
guys are just
Number 7,
real stupid, aren't they?
A woman recently suffered the Tinder date from hell.
Oh,
According
man.
to the Sudbury police, after meeting a man named Peter from the dating app, this poor woman was kidnapped, beaten, strangled, and threatened. Her insane Tinder date not only threatened to kill her, but do the same to her child if she ever told the authorities what he did to her.
Flipping
The most bizarre
hell.
part is that Peter, only 28 years old, kidnapped the woman and held her hostage inside of Sydney into a...
Okay, the mad thing is, right, I am the same age as him. I don't know how his life has gone that crazy in his 28 years of life that he thinks, like, kidnapping a person...
His parents even
blows
saw
my
her
mind.
in the morning at around 6 a.m. and they asked her if she was okay, and she said she was fine. But only because she was scared of what Peter might do. In a later interview, the father of the attacker told Boston 25 News that had he known what his son was up to, he would have called the police right away. In the end, she ended up escaping the psycho's house and fleeing to the nearby LaHaye Hospital to get treatment for her injuries. She then told the police what happened, and Peter is now being charged with a whole lot of crimes, including assault and battery.
You're damn right. You're damn right, man. That Donnie needs to be locked away, key thrown away, all of that good stuff. How dare he?
Weapon, assault and battery on a police officer, and of course, kidnapping and strangulation.
That's just...
Number 6, breaking protocol. A man got himself in some seriously hot water trying to go on a Tinder date in the middle of the pandemic. First of all, is dating really your top priority when the world seems to be falling apart?
This guy's like,
apparently for some
COVID what? COVID what? I need my Tinder dates. That's what man needs.
He was going to be traveling by air to meet a girl he'd been talking to on Tinder. Well, when he landed in the East Midlands airport in the United Kingdom...
no way, it's here in the UK. He travelled all the way on a plane for a Tinder date. You know what? I never understand that. When people travel that far, it's like you literally have... You have no idea how this is going to go. Why the hell would you travel across the world?
Quite the pickle. Not only did he get in trouble at the airport for breaching strict lockdown protocols, but he was also caught trying to smuggle a small amount of drugs on his person. This genius never ended up making it to his Tinder date and instead spent his romantic evening with the police. He was arrested, but it hasn't been revealed what kind of charges the man faces. And as far as his Tinder date, well, she's probably moved on by now. Number 5, 9,000 texts. A Tinder user from Australia has been accused of stalking a guy that she matched with on the dating app. But not only did she stalk her ex-match, she's also accused of stalking the guy's sisters, his new girlfriend, and his parents. As reported by News...
See, I think this is so far from this video, what you've got is you've got a kind of a common theme, right? The women that are in this are like all very stalkerish, and the men, both of these are bad, and the men are like kind of more like kidnapping type people, which is both weird, both very, very weird.
This woman sent over 9,000 text messages in a campaign of harassment that went on for months.
9,000 texts.
Denise Lee met Matthew Hoberton in 2015.
God, that's so many texts.
Matthew moved out of the city. Later, Denise learned that Matthew had a new girlfriend. He was dating a girl from the University of Melbourne. After she saw pictures of them together on Facebook, well, she went a little nuts. In fact, prosecutors have described what happened in the following months as nothing but vicious. Matthew was constantly blocking numbers and switching his own.
Oh my God!
Continued and got even.
You would go insane. You would lob your phone into like the furthest river, the furthest away from you. Like that. That's so bad. Your phone would be blowing up all of the time.
6 individuals and sent over 9,000 texts and 100 emails from different fake accounts. The vicious attacks went so far that one of the people involved was contemplating doing something desperate with their own life. Now Denise is facing charges involving using a service to harass, which is an Australian cybercrime. She's also facing 2 counts of stalking, along with 2 counts of contravening an apprehended violence order. This is pretty grim behavior, especially considering Denise is a radiologist and a fairly normal member of society, or so it seems.
Wait, what? How can she be like a normal person but be batshit crazy at the same time? How does that make sense?
That she followed Matthew around and took pictures of his extended family, even tracking Matthew's movements through his cycling app. Number 4, catfish carjacking. 5 teenagers were recently arrested for a string of robberies and carjackings in San Jose that were done using fake accounts on the Tinder app.
And these catfishes and fake accounts thing, man, this is, when going into this video, I knew this would be the most common type, because it's just, it's so easy to do this stuff, and people are so, like, looking for stuff on these apps that it's so easy to get, roped in.
March 16th and March 29th. The fraudulent Tinder accounts were used to lure male victims to parks or secluded streets in the late hours of the evening, where the victims were then beaten and carjacked at gunpoint by masked teenage catfish.
Jesus
Luckily, nobody
Christ.
was seriously injured in any of these cases. All of
Don't
the
do
suspects
this.
were captured and charged with multiple criminal offenses. It's not
Have you
clear-
noticed how all of these ones have been caught? So anyone ever watching this or anything like that, thinking about this stuff, it doesn't work. You will get caught. So just don't do it.
Men were tricked into getting their cars stolen, or if any of them got their vehicles back. But one thing is for sure, the victims are probably never going to meet strangers in the dark ever again.
Jesus.
Number 3, the double life. Caitlin met a boy on Tinder and they started dating, but things got a little weird when her date vanished after 3 months. Caitlin thought this guy was the total package.
That's strange.
She said he was well-mannered, he owned his own farm, and he even had a super cute golden retriever. He seemed perfect. But then he ghosted Caitlin out of the blue, only to re-establish contact a little while later. He told Caitlin that he needed to go to London because his friend was having a baby. Caitlin thought this was a little weird, so she used
That's
the
sus.
geotag attached to the X-rated pictures that her date had sent her to see just where this guy was from and what he was really doing. Using the geotags, she matched her date's...
Wait, that's mad clever. Wait, what? What's geotag? I don't know what geotag is, but that's very clever. That's very detective of her.
named
She
the
put
place
on
he
a
lived
detective
and found
hat.
pictures of his wedding.
No.
Turned out this guy was married and cheating on his wife. He even had kids.
Wow.
This guy was living a double life. But Caitlin was a good person, and even though he definitely deserved it, she didn't ruin his marriage or his relationship with his kids by outing.
Nah. In that case, she did the wrong thing. She needs to rat him out. He needs to be called out. He needs to be called out. She needs to be a snitch.
What would you do if you found yourself in this kind of situation? Would you leave it alone? Would you maybe warn
100% be the snitch. This guy is going to do it again. He's going to do it again to other people. Other people are going to get hurt in it as well. The more people he does it, the more people will get hurt. It's not even about just protecting his family and kids is telling them, getting them away from this crazy dude.
his wife?
100% say,
Let me know your thoughts in the comments
100%
below.
snitch.
Number 2, banned for stalking. It does take a lot to get banned by Tinder, and yet one man from Australia was such a creep that the dating app actually blocked him because he'd been
Wow.
stalking and harassing women. Well, we know this guy's name. It's Thomas, a 29-year-old who was caught intimidating at least 7 different women from different cities throughout Australia.
What
But
is he
women
doing?
as far away as London
Have you noticed how a lot of these are Australia? Maybe Australia has a weird way with Tinder.
also had problems with this guy. According to the Daily Mail, this man's very handsome and he has a good job. And
Okay, now we're taking sources from Daily Mail. This story can only
uses
go
his good looks to
only
lure
go
his
downhill from
victims
here.
into uncomfortable situations where he then sometimes stalks and belittles them.
Oh,
Well,
my
after getting
days.
kicked off Tinder, Thomas was caught using another dating app called Bumble. But one of his previous victims caught him on the other dating app as well.
Wow.
And while he hasn't been kicked off just yet, there is a countrywide warning for when
Surely these apps share information about banned users. No, surely they do that.
to
They've
stay
got
away
to
from
do
him
that.
because he's an absolute psycho. Imagine being such a bad date that you become despised by an entire country. Number 1, lured and dismembered. A 24-year-old Nebraska woman is the winner of the worst Tinder date in history.
Oh my God.
Sydney Loof was murdered while on a date with a woman she
Oh,
had met
wow.
off the dating app. Sydney was lured to the apartment of Bailey Boswell and her boyfriend Aubrey Trail on November 15th of 2017. Boswell
Okay, here's a top tip if you guys didn't know. If you're ever doing a Tinder date and you're ever meeting somebody you haven't, never go to their house. Always meet in a mutual place where there are other people.
would use the app to
Come on,
lull Sydney
guys.
into a false sense of security. But when Sydney arrived at the apartment, her phone was turned off and she was killed just a few minutes later.
Jeez.
Boswell and her boyfriend then chopped Sydney into at least 13 pieces with a
Oh,
hacksaw
man.
and tin snips that they had bought from Home Depot just a couple hours before the date. The whole thing had been premeditated. This deranged
Flippin'
couple
hell.
then dumped Sydney's body along country roads. Of course, Sydney's remains were quickly discovered by police. The Tinder killers were captured and found guilty of first-degree murder.
Bro, is that... Flipping hell, man.
The most horrendous part of this whole story, though, is that nobody knows why the couple did what they did. There was no sensible motive to the violence that occurred. Thanks for watching.
That is mad. They literally had no, oh my god, I can't believe it. That one's really angered me. No, there's literally no reason to do that. Poor lady lost her life for absolutely nothing. Jesus, man. Stay safe, kids, man. Stay safe. That's all I can say. Tinder, as I said at the beginning, it's got many pros. You can find the loves of your life, but just be careful, guys. As I said, outdoor places, social places, not at people's houses. You guys know the drill now. Come on. Want to see you guys all being safe on Tinder. But thank you all guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you're not already, and I'll see you on the next one.